purposes only, and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Hey, welcome in. Ready to kick off a Friday edition of the show. It's a big day, going to be a fun day, and the next 2 hours are going to move pretty fast. So thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Well, it is a big day. The big day is finally here. I remember promoting the Larry Elder event more than 2 months ago, and now it's April the 25th, a Friday, and we look forward to seeing all of you tonight at the Der Dutchman restaurant in Plain City. 300 some of you will be there, and it's going to be a great night. Hopefully Larry's plane is on time, and hopefully Larry doesn't bail on his GPS, because as I said from the very beginning, what will Larry Elder think? The sage of South Central LA, the man who has a country to save. He will see more of the country tonight than he ever anticipated. I wonder what he'll think when he turns left off 161 onto Post Road, and all of a sudden he's in the country thinking, have I been punked? No, you have not been punked, Larry. Stick with the GPS, and we will see you for a delicious meal and an awesome conversation tonight at the Der Dutchman. We got a lot to talk about in the next 2 hours. The whole entire show today could be an episode of Today in Crazy, because we have a federal district judge who has ruled against the Trump administration for an executive order that requires voters to prove that they are citizens of the United States in order to vote. Guess who brought that case against the Trump administration? That's right. That would be your Democratic Party. The ones that in Pennsylvania in 2020 decided to accept ballots after the legally established day, the final day to accept ballots. They want to continue to run elections. I know I was nervous about turning our elections over to the feds when the Democrats were in control. I'm not sure what the right answer is here, but I know the right answer is not allowing people to vote without proving that they are citizens of the United States with some form of ID. But let's bring it a little bit closer to home. We'll get to that eventually. We'll get to all the other nonsense that's out there, including the Minnesota legislature. Every Democrat, probably a needless detail for me to provide for you, since you know that if any legislative body is voting against barring boys from playing girl sports, it's a legislative body where every Democrat musters their collective support to vote down common sense and protection of women. But let's start right here at home. On the hallowed oval at Ohio State yesterday, where the Students for Justice in Palestine attorney, a Muslim woman wearing her Muslim head covering, traveled from her powerful New York law firm to advocate for one of the 12 Ohio State students whose visa has been revoked by the Trump administration because he is an open and avowed supporter of Hamas. He was arrested in the South Oval protests a couple of months ago, and his name is Awar Sultan. Awar Sultan. He stepped up before the OSU cops swooped in to say it's against university policy to amplify any voice. That's why they don't have like the street preachers out there anymore like they did in my day with a portable PA system. That's not allowed at Ohio State anymore, although those guys are probably still there screaming at the top of their lungs. Not doing God's work when they're threatening people with hell. Let's lead with something a little bit more appealing about Christianity, although that's definitely a part of Christianity if you turn your face away from God. But let's give them a chance to accept his love and grace first, shall we, guys? But first, here's Awar Sultan stepping up to the podium to talk about how unfair this is, that a country of which he is not a citizen is trying to deport him for leading or participating in protests that have decidedly and most assuredly fomented violence around the country.
By ICE. It is true that I risk deportation even as I stand here in front of you, and partly because I stand here in front of you. The risk is still there, even though my case is in court.
Okay, let's just stop it there because there's only so much nonsense that I can abide. He's wearing a keffiyeh that is sported by supporters of Hamas, who, need I remind you, stormed into Israel, broke a ceasefire, murdered, raped, put babies in ovens, took hostages, some of whom are still in rat-infested and who knows what else tunnels in Gaza, including an American citizen whose name we dare not mention. But this got me to thinking. He's not a citizen of the United States. What citizen is he a citizen of? He is a citizen of India. Now, I find this curious that he is a citizen of India because do you know what happened in India this week? Might have escaped your attention. In India this week, the government of India is, with no exceptions, deporting every Arab. And why is that? Because on the 23rd of April, which is 2 days ago, 26 people were killed and scores of others were injured, the vast majority of them tourists, when Muslim militants opened fire. Yeah, a terrorist attack led by Muslims in India. This guy is an Indian citizen and he supports the terrorists. He would not be able to stay in his own country expressing the views that he is expressing in the United States of America, and yet he is hiding behind protections in the United States of America. And I just had to think, what would happen to me or you or your grandson, granddaughter, son or daughter if they were for some reason studying at, I don't know, the University of Moscow, and they decided this intrusion into Ukraine is definitely wrong. I think I'll go out on Red Square, grab a microphone, and start talking about how horrible, terrible, awful Vladimir Putin is. What would happen to your son or daughter, grandson or granddaughter? Would it be good? No, you wouldn't hear from them again. What would happen if, say, I don't know, in Peking, Beijing, wherever in China, you decided to grab a microphone and stand up and talk about how Xi Jinping has no business viewing Taiwan as a part of China? What would happen? Now, this is where I have to stop myself and say, I do not want to become what I despise. But I also do not think it is our duty to keep people around here in this country who have made very, very clear. He said it, his own words. He said, I'm in this pickle because I support Hamas, because I support Palestine, because I support Gaza. He's admitting it. And yet he wants to not be deported, continue to be able to teach at Ohio State, continue to be able to foment violence. This is crazy to me that we allow this, but it shouldn't be that crazy to me because here's a couple other headlines out of Ohio State today. More than 350 Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center staff and faculty members are condemning the university's shuttering of offices and services related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They say that this will negatively impact the health of students, staff, and patients alike. One of the leaders of this is Dr. Anita Chang, a psychiatrist. Physician, heal thyself. It says here in the dispatch that she's one of 361 individuals who signed the letter. But wait, when I flip over to the third page of this story, I read this curious detail. Most of the signatures, if not all of them, on the open letter are anonymous. Now, I know if you've ever gotten a prescription in your life, you probably looked at the doctor's signature and said, who can make heads or tails of that? Maybe they all signed the letter like they signed prescriptions, so nobody knows whose name is on there. But doesn't it detract maybe from some of your, I don't know, boldness or authenticity if you quote unquote sign a, how do you sign a letter anonymously? What does it say? Dr. 1, Dr. 2, Dr. 3, all the way up to Dr. 361? Crazy. Wait, I'm not done. There's more out at the Ohio State College. The faculty is joining in the now statewide initiative to protest the Trump administration's supposed war on higher education and the state of Ohio's war on higher education, because it's just not fair, not equitable either, or inclusive, or diverse, to require professors to teach both sides of a topic. See, they got used to teaching only the woke side of topics. And now at Harvard and other universities around the country, the Trump administration is clamping down. We got Senate Bill 1 here in the state of Ohio, the Salmon P. Chase Centers at 6 schools in Ohio. The faculty is pushing back against that.
Clouds and cooler, shower and thunderstorm for this afternoon, high 69. Rain, thunderstorm for tonight, low 54. Clouds and breezy for tomorrow morning. Some breaks of sun by the afternoon, high 64. Sunny skies on Sunday with a high at 67. And then mostly sunny, a warm day on Monday. High Monday at 76. Clouds and breezy for Tuesday. High Tuesday at 81. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi everyone, Tom Mustin here for the Legal Help Center. If
I know it's here.
If one were injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up, because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. You'll find out if you have a case,
Where did that story
how
go?
much money it's potentially worth. Call 800.
All right.
That's 800 948 5880. The call is free, the consultation is free, and you can speak with a live agent 24/7. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident of any kind, take advantage of this opportunity and speak with a live agent right now. Find out if you have a case and how much money you could potentially get. Call 800 948 5880. That's 800 948 5880. 800 948 5880. Call now. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments, along with lectures, celebrity interviews, his famous Torah teachings, and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com. Pragertopia.com.
If the amazing regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics provided relief for former pro football player Bobby Carpenter, imagine the potential for your aching joints.
So my knee had been bothering me for a while. I played football for a number of years. I looked at talking to some doctors when I need to potentially have surgery, and I decided, like, hey, let's check out QC Kinetics. I go in there, and they look at the knee, and here's the program that we can put you through.
That treatment takes your body's own healing properties and concentrates them at the root of the pain.
no surgery or downtime.
The best part was there's no recovery until one day I felt like, hey, this feels like my old self again. I feel better. It's helped me. It's helped my dad. Hopefully it will help you in the same way. My message to them is do not wait. You can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Take it from Bobby Carpenter. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Tonight's the night, the Larry Elder event at Der Dutchman Restaurant. So I want to give you the opportunity, if you got a question that you'd like to ask Larry, maybe you got shut out, didn't get a ticket in time, you can send your questions for Larry to bruce@salemmedia.com. Can't guarantee you that I will ask them, but I'll do my best. I'll winnow through them and do that. Next station event will be coming July the 19th. Can't give you the details on it, sorry, but there are powers that be here at the station that are much, much bigger than I am. They tell me I can give the date, but I can't tell you what it is. So just mark your calendar, and when we get to that point where details can be announced, I'd love to tell you. We really enjoy these events. If you were at the Lazy Chameleon with myself and Mike Gallagher, I imagine I'll see a lot of you again tonight. That'll be fun. But don't miss out. And don't miss out on all the access to all the podcasts and all the talk shows and all the informative programming that we have here at 989 The Answer by going to, guess where, 989theanswer.com. The Ohio State University Faculty Council is joining with its other fools in the Big Ten Conference in a mutual defense compact, which will support the defense of academic freedom and resistance of the Trump administration. The OSU Faculty Council voted 35-11 yesterday, which now includes OSU in what is being called the Big Ten Academic Alliance to fight the Trump administration's threat to the foundational principles of American higher education. What would those include? The autonomy of university governance, the integrity of scientific research. You mean like all that great research during COVID? And the protection of free speech. Oh, you mean like during COVID when we couldn't say that maybe COVID came from a lab, or we couldn't say that 6 feet of social distancing was utter nonsense? Like that? Yeah. The resolution says that member universities shall commit meaningful funding to this defense fund. That's interesting. The faculty telling the administration of the university how to spend its money. What if it doesn't do that? Well, council member Ashley Perez said that this resolution by the faculty at Ohio State publicly recognizes the, quote, grave harms that Donald Trump's current attacks on the mission and independence of our universities is inflicting. Like, you know, at Yale, where all the Palestinian students are standing shoulder to shoulder, yelling horrible, terrible, awful things at Jewish students. They had one of those students on Fox yesterday. Let me see if I can find out. Oh, here he is. This is what it's like to be a Jewish student at Yale, or quite likely at Ohio State. They've had acts of violence outside the Hillel Center on campus. Here's the Jewish student from Yale, what it's like there.
It was horrible, and that's the best way to put it. But unfortunately, not something new for myself or my Jewish peers at Yale. I was supposed to be doing my senior thesis last night, and instead was faced by a mob that wouldn't let me walk through my own campus. They allowed other students to walk in and out. It was only myself and my Jewish peers, all of us very identifiably Jewish.
Now, we can all play this game of what if these were white students blocking a black student. And when I say that, it's not because I want that. It is because if that happened, there would be no dispute about the impropriety of the actions of those blocking the black student, or in this case, the Jewish student. But faculty here at Ohio State, and they will say, oh, no, we're not talking about we're talking about Donald Trump policing our academic integrity. You don't have any academic integrity. Okay, for the last half century, you've proven, if there's one thing you've proven, you have no academic integrity. None at all. Some of you may. It's not everyone. I get it. They're bad apples in every bunch. But you are, if you want federal funding, like you can go it on your own. That'd be fine. You can do that. But if you want money from the U.S. taxpayer to fund your research and all that, you have to teach both sides of an issue. And you have to obey federal law. And I get it. You may not like federal law under Donald Trump. You probably liked it a whole lot better under Joe Biden. But the fact is, you don't get to pick and choose which federal law you follow. Unless, of course, you're a U.S. district court judge. And then you just decide that anything that could imperil Democrats re-grabbing the power that they so horribly mismanaged 12 of the last 16 years, well, then you don't have to look at the law. You don't have to do anything. Unlike this knucklehead Anwar Sultan on campus, who incriminated himself yesterday with this statement. I am subject to this risk, being deported, because I tried to speak up for Palestine. Yes, on that we can agree. You cannot speak up for Palestine because it is a violent movement. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Okay, fine. Here's Gad Saad, one of the best thinkers. He's Lebanese. He's from the Middle East. He's written books. We've had him on the show. Gad Saad, very, very smart, talking about what has happened, unfolded over centuries in the Middle East because of the way people like Anwar Sultan view the world through the prism of what the Quran tells them to do.
Egypt used to be completely Coptic Christian, 100%, many hundred years ago. Today, there are 10% Copts left. What happened to those Copts? There used to be tons of Christians in Syria. What happened to those Syrians? There used to be tons of Christians in Lebanon. There still are some, about 30, 35%, but Lebanon used to be a majority Christian country. So the goal of Islam, not individual Muslims, right? Again, I don't need to preface by saying there are millions and millions of lovely, kind, peaceful Muslims. Of course there is. But Islam as an ideology, does it tolerate others? Well, we have 1,400 years of history that either says it does or it doesn't, right? We don't have to watch TikTok videos. And nothing could be clearer than what the words of Muhammad were, the prophet of Islam, who said that you need to rid Arabia of Christians, but certainly the Jews. So the existence of the land of Israel is an affront to that.
No doubt about it. They make no bones about it. It's in their founding documents. You know what happened yesterday in the state of Washington? Oh, look at this. The state of Washington, which does not officially recognize Easter or Yom Kippur as state holidays, by the way, those are the top two Christian and Jewish, well, top one Christian and Jewish holidays. The state of Washington, which does not recognize those, yesterday became the first state in the nation to recognize two Islamic holidays as unpaid state-recognized holidays when, look at this, Democratic Governor Bob Ferguson signed the legislation into law. Oh, aren't we all shocked by that? Sounds like the Muslims are trying to take over the world. Gad Saad with more on why there can be no peace with radical Islam.
In Islam, there's a concept called Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. That means the house of Islam and the house of war. Anything that's under the Islamic control is good. Anything that's yet to be under Islamic control is under the house of war. Once a territory is under Islamic control and you lose it, you have to get it back. It is your dominion forever. So Israel existentially cannot exist. You can't have peace if you have the other side that truly never wants for you to exist. That's the bottom line. If you can change people's heart where they say, look, I get a piece of land, you get another piece, let's build an incredible, vibrant co-society together, you'd have peace. But if you're taught from straight out of the womb that the Jews is the reason for every calamity in the world, you're not going to have peace.
Rich Thomason in Washington. FBI Director Kash Patel says a Wisconsin County judge accused of helping a man avoid immigration enforcement has been arrested. Patel says Judge Hannah Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse. An explosive Russian drone has hit an apartment building in southeastern Ukraine. 3 people killed, 10 others injured. Today's early morning attack comes one day after a deadly missile and drone strike on the capital, Kiev. Another high-ranking Russian military officer has been assassinated by a car bomb. Investigators say the lieutenant general was killed by an explosive device in his car in the district just outside of Moscow. On Wall Street, the Dow is trading about 228 points lower, while the NASDAQ is 61 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Financing a home, especially in today's market, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make for your family. Work with a mortgage company that puts you first. I do. Work with a lender founded on biblical principles like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I do. It's Mike Gallagher for the only mortgage company I've used for almost a decade now when financing or refinancing Fellowship Home Loans. I'm friends with the owners, Mike and Brian. I even have them on my show occasionally. I know the care their team puts into every single customer. I can personally tell you that it's a smooth, stress-free process, and that's due to Fellowship's level of service and expertise that puts you in the right loan for your family and your goals. There's a reason Fellowship Home Loans is flooded with 5-star reviews. Whether purchasing a home or a cash-out refi to consolidate some higher interest debt, you can trust Fellowship Home Loans. Start the process. Make the call. 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, equal housing lender, NMLS number. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, tune in, or iHeart.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-8709, 800-505-8709, 800-505-8709.
Trish Regan provides the analysis you need each day on the Trish Regan podcast.
People are like, we realize there's an establishment very hard at work, whether it be the media, whether it be some of the judicial entities, and we're going to push back against that with the Constitution on our side, but they're going to use what they have, what they can, and they're going to move first and ask questions later.
Subscribe to the Trish Regan podcast today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. He's one of the top 10 radio hosts in the country. He never varnishes his opinions. And now more than ever, you need to spend part of your day with a healthy dose of the Mike Gallagher Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
My Pillow Mega Sale 2.0. If you are at the end of the life of your set of sheets, well, this is convenient timing for you. A big box store chain placed an order with Mike Lindell. And then who knows what happened? They got to burn their saddle. They canceled the order. Now, that's rotten for Mike Lindell, but not really rotten for Mike Lindell, because he knows he can count on you, his loyal audience that has kept My Pillow not just afloat, but flourishing during the efforts to continually cancel him since the 2020 election, which Mike Lindell raised his eyebrows at, and everybody was like, hey, quote, nothing to see here. Stop buying the My Pillow. No more My Pillow products in your stores. Well, Mike put his business online, and you have supported him big time. So when this big box store canceled on him, Mike cut the prices, and you will save 65-70% on percale sheets and half on Giza Dream bed sheets. Check out the prices by using my promo code Bruce at mypillow.com. Now, tonight at the Dare Dutchman, if you have tickets and you're curious about what time the whole shooting match gets, no shooting match, just figuratively speaking, what time the fun gets underway. The doors will open. Let me make sure I get this right so I don't incur a stampede on the poor Der Dutchman staff. The doors open at 6. The doors open at 6. Dinner 6:30, and the program at 7. Now, we will have little cards on your place settings where you can write your name to reserve your seat after you get there. So you don't have to like tip the chairs, and because we're going to be jammed in there. Okay, there's room, but we're going to have multiple buffet lines. It's going to be great. Larry Elder coming in from California, which we appreciate. I'm looking forward to meeting Larry. I really like his style, love his program, and I got a lot of things that I want to ask him. Now, our Jack Windsor is also part of the program, or was billed to be part of the program, but that will depend upon the efficiency of the American airline, of the U.S. airline industry. Because as we speak today, Jack Windsor is, guess where? At the White House. That's right. Jack Windsor of the Ohio Press Network and host of the Windsor Report, heard 5 to 6 p.m. here on The Answer, is at the White House. He was invited, a select group of conservative radio hosts, to be on Radio Row at the White House as we approach the 100th day of Donald Trump's presidency. That will be on April the 30th. Trump himself is not at the White House today. He was this morning, but here he is explaining why he's leaving and where he is going.
We're leaving and going to Rome, where we'll be attending the funeral of Pope Francis. Some of you are going to go. Anybody going? And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to meet with a lot of the foreign leaders they want to meet. Trade deals are going very well. I think Russia and Ukraine, I think they're coming along, we hope. Very fragile. And Iran, I think, is going very well. We'll see what happens. We're working on plenty of things that shouldn't be worked on, because none of this stuff should have happened. This should have been taken place by Biden. It should have been fixed by Biden, but he couldn't do it, nor could he come close to doing. So anyway, we're going to Rome to pay our respects, and we'll be leaving that same day. We'll be coming back home tomorrow night.
Trump never fails to like give that knife about the war in Ukraine starting because Biden was inept. How many times he twisted that knife in? All justified. All justified. Now, it's not going well in Ukraine. Putin and Russia last night again bombed Ukraine, and I don't think Putin has any interest in peace over there. None. Zero. But this morning, supposedly, or sometime today, Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is meeting with Vladimir Putin. Here's Trump on that.
They're meeting with Putin right now as we speak, and we have a lot of things going on, and I think in the end we're going to end up with a lot of good deals, including tariff deals and trade deals. We're going to make our country rich, but we're going to try and get out of war so that we can save 5,000 people a week, and that's what my aim is. I want to save 5,000 young men. They happen to be mostly Ukrainian, Russian, 5,000 young Ukrainian and Russian men, and that's a big honor if I could do it. I think we're pretty close.
Let's hope so, but I don't think Putin's really that interested. I think he's waiting for America to lose its stomach and run over Ukraine. It's just my personal viewpoint. Now, I warned you at the top that this whole show today could be covered under the umbrella of the title we give to our 1220 segment every day, which is Today in Crazy. This whole show could be Today in Crazy. Headline, Columbus, Ohio, right where we live. You remember April 24th, 2023? You say, come on, I can't remember that, Bruce. That's a long time ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago. Kroger store over in Sunbury, right there where 161 branches off of 270. And a woman named Takia Young decided to go Krogering. Actually, she decided to go shoplifting with two of her friends, and they were inside while she left her two boys outside in her car. Is it hot in Columbus in August? Yeah, it is. At any rate, Takia was in the Kroger, and store video shows her engaging with her accomplices in the theft of as high a end liquor as you can possibly obtain at a Kroger. This was reported by store security to Blendon Township police officers who converged upon the Kroger and stopped Takia Young after she had gotten in her car and was preparing to leave. One of those officers, who I will not name because he deserves anonymity, even though none of the other local media will give it to him, was standing in front of her car, and they ordered her out of her car. She rolled down her window a little bit, but would not comply with officers' orders. In fact, what she decided to do was step on the gas of her car and attempt to run over the officer, who fired his weapon. And very unfortunately, I don't want to miss this, very unfortunately, a 21-year-old pregnant Takia Young was shot and killed. Now her family is going to the local media and boo-hooing about the fact that this officer has still not been tried for murder. He is scheduled to be tried for murder, which is, listen to me closely, an utter travesty. An utter travesty. He's supposed to let her, who he has more than reasonable belief to have engaged in criminal activity, leave, get out of her way, just let her drive off, or run him over. None of his training would compel him to do that. He followed his training to a T. He thought his life was in danger. Funny, would you think your life was in danger if you were standing in front of a car and somebody tried to run you over? I would think so. But the idiot prosecutor on this case has decided that they're going to put him on trial. And you know what? In this county, it's very quite likely that he might get a partisan juror who doesn't want to listen to the facts of the case. Like, that's never happened before. Derek Chauvin, O.J. Simpson. But the thing that stuck out to me in this story on the WSYX Channel 6 website, which it must have been a slow news day and they needed to like commemorate this, it's not anywhere close to the 2-year anniversary of it, is the fact that it is never mentioned in this story that Takia Young tried to run over the officer with her car. Never. Here's the paragraph that comes close. The officer, who remains on leave, is charged with murder in connection with the deaths of Young and her unborn child. Oh, see, she could have, if she didn't run over the officer and, break her rear axle or something, she could have like left the Kroger with the stolen liquor, driven to an abortion clinic, killed her child. That would have been fine. But since he shoots her, now he's charged with 2 counts of murder. See, the child is only a child if the police kill it. But if the mom kills it, it's just a clump of cells. Okay, got it. The incident was captured on body-worn camera footage, showing officers demanding Young exit her vehicle before she began to drive forward, prompting Grubb to fire once through the windshield. Wow, that's carefully worded, isn't it? It doesn't say that the officer was afraid he was going to get run over and he fired his weapon to protect his own life. She just began to drive forward. Probably coasting. Yeah, sure. Make a gradual getaway. Here's the other line in the story that jumped out at me. A member of her family, quote, lamented the lack of an apology from police. Nobody's ever apologized, the woman said. Nothing. We didn't get, I'm sorry to the family. None of that. Up to this day, nobody said anything like that to us. Yes, they didn't, because the officer feared for his life because, let me see how many bad decisions Takia Young made that day. Number 1, leaving her kids in the car. Number 2, joining with her friends going inside to steal liquor. Number 3, stealing the liquor. Number 3, leaving the store with the stolen liquor. Number 4 or 5, I've lost track. Getting in her car, refusing to comply with officers, multiple warnings to get out of the car. And then finally, hitting the gas and driving or attempting to drive away.
shower and thunderstorm for this afternoon, high 69. Rain, thunderstorm for tonight, low 54. Clouds and breezy for tomorrow morning. Some breaks of sun by the afternoon, high 64. Sunny skies on Sunday with a high at 67. And then mostly sunny, a warm day on Monday. High Monday at 76. Clouds and breezy for Tuesday, high Tuesday at 81. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
April 1775. The shot heard round the world.
I disavow all knowledge of this, whatever this is. I'm turning it down. I don't want to subject you to it. I don't want to hear it. I turned that down. I don't want my live stream audience to hear it. What a bunch of garbage. Anyway.
It's 2 minutes.
I know it is.
2
minutes. It never ends. What do we got here? QC Kinetics?
No, we did it on everything.
Yeah. Gee, Christmas.
Because that's a cheap commercial.
We cover everything. We should like chart that whole rant out. Like we got Jesus, we got like Revolutionary War, we got a shot at Matt Huffman, we got like everything. Crazy.
While increasing property taxes.
I just can't. I can't let you listen to it. It's the laws tell us what we have to put on the air, and it's crazy. Hey, still going. Yeah. I hear you, but I'm not gonna let my audience hear you. Sorry. This is nuts. All right, back to getting ready for the next segment. Back together. Let's do the important stuff, okay? There, a little Scott Jennings. Always a good day when you can put Scott Jennings.
Well, no.
Still rambling. Let's see, what else do we have here? Newt Gingrich. There we go. Now we're back to normal, sane commercials. There we go. All right, fantastic. My buddy Ross DiGiorgio, Ross Realtors. Good man. Real good man. Give him a shot.
Are you thinking about selling your house and need help getting it ready? Hi, this is Ross DiGiorgio of Ross Realtors. I will buy your house for cash. What? That's right. I'll buy your house for cash, as is and where is. That means no inspections, no financing. Take what you want and leave the rest. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. So don't worry about all those people calling you asking if you want to sell your house or all those postcards you receive in the mail. Call Ross Realtors 614-599-6100. That's 614-599-6100. Cash for your home. Before you list with someone else, call Ross Realtors.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
BruceHooley.com, click flooring. That's my recommendation if you're thinking about doing a flooring remodel in your home. If you don't, go to BruceHooley.com and click flooring. Well, you'll be missing out on an opportunity to a couple things. Save money, number one. That's probably most important. Number two, get your product in faster. And number three, although certainly not third in importance to you, would be getting your product in a way that there are no mistakes, no scratches, no ugly seams, no gaps. I can assure you of this because we have awesome installers. We have access to every single product out there that you can get anywhere else. And I know how big box stores make you wait, 2 months, 3 months to get your product in. That will not happen if you go to BruceHooley.com and click flooring. I would love the opportunity, just an opportunity, is all I'm asking for, to serve you because, hey, then I get to meet my audience, which is also a big time bonus for me and hopefully for you. So go to brucehooley.com and click Floor. We do not have a king in this country. We have a president, although our president is being usurped by people who think they are kings. They're called district court judges. One of them yesterday, named Colleen Kolar-Kotelly, a Bill Clinton appointee, granted a temporary injunction in U.S. District Court, which will stop the Trump administration from going forward with proof of citizenship requirements for people who want to vote in local and state and national elections. You would say, who would oppose that? You know, in a lawsuit, the way a lawsuit works is you have to have a plaintiff, the people who look at something and go, that's not fair. I don't want that. That's not constitutional. Who would be that party in this case? I know you might think it's a illegal alien, one of the, 15, 20 million who streamed across the border under Joe Biden, but you'd be wrong. The lawsuit was filed by the Democratic National Committee. And leftist voting rights groups, which, is redundant. The Democratic National Committee and leftist voting rights groups, which claim that Donald Trump's executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote is, and I quote, an unlawful action that threatens to uproot our tried and tested election systems and silence potentially millions of Americans. Now, why would the Democratic National Committee think that about citizenship requirements on voting? Well, I'm just spitballing here, but I'm guessing they might be afraid that they can't do again what they did in 2020, which was cloud the confidence in a presidential election with myriad funny business in voting laws and counting laws and mail-in voting practices around the country. The Trump administration's view of this is contained in the executive order that Donald Trump signed in March, which read, under the Constitution, state governments must safeguard American elections in compliance with federal laws that protect Americans' voting rights and guard against dilution by illegal voting, by discrimination, by fraud, and by other forms of malfeasance and error. So Trump is not saying he wants to federalize elections. Did you notice he said, under the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, state governments must safeguard American elections. So if anybody tells you, oh, Donald Trump's trying to federalize elections, no, he's not. He's trying to get the states to follow state law. Pennsylvania didn't do that in 2020. Now, then he goes on, or his administration goes on, in its response to this lawsuit. The executive order from Trump continued, the United States has not adequately enforced federal election requirements that, for example, prohibit states from counting ballots received after Election Day, Pennsylvania and Nevada, or prohibit non-citizens from registering to vote. And we've covered many, many times how you come across the border, you fill out your paperwork, you get your future court date, and then, oh, look, what shows up? Something that you take to the DMV in your local area, and all of a sudden you're registered to vote. Ooh, isn't that interesting? Probably an oversight. Yeah, right, sure it is. Another part of this particular lawsuit no longer allows the Trump administration to require those enrolled in public assistance to have their citizenship assessed before they receive a voter registration form. So, in other words, you give a voter registration form to anybody, and if, 100 or 100,000 or 1 million or 10 million fall through the cracks, so be it. Cost of doing business. Now, this ruling by this Clinton-appointed judge is the 108th ruling that has blocked or temporarily frozen a Trump attempt to carry out his agenda. 108. You might be curious to know, what day are we in the Trump administration? Not 100. Nope, not there yet. That's April 30th. We're in day 94. So they are averaging more than one federal judge blocking or state judge blocking Donald Trump from doing what, don't say what he wants to do, say what the American people empowered him to do. He won the popular vote. He won every swing state. Now, Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, thinks he has, or somebody in Congress has a solution to putting a stop to all this nonsense. Tell us about it, Newt.
There's a great question why Congress isn't doing more to deal with these district judges who seem so out of control. I can talk about that because I actually testified at a Judiciary Committee hearing in the House just about a week ago, talking about the need to restrict district courts to local district decisions and not allow district court judges to make nationwide decisions that could affect everybody as though they were an alternative president. I'm delighted to report that Congressman Darrell Issa actually passed a bill which would block district courts from having nationwide injunctions and instead limit them to their own district. It went through the House. Senator Grassley has a similar bill in the Senate. I suspect it'll pass, and I suspect that President Trump will sign it. So Congress is moving to put district judges back in their district and not allow them to pretend that they're alternative presidents.
Okay, the only flaw in that is the part where he says Senator Grassley has a bill and it'll pass the Senate. You know how the Senate works. In order to vote on something in the Senate, you have to first agree to vote on something in the Senate. And unless there's some workaround, I cannot envision 7 Democrats, which you need 60 votes to break a filibuster. I cannot envision 7 Democratic senators voting. Oh, you say, wow, they'll look really terrible in the election. Yeah, they will. But will the Republicans, the independents, will they penalize them for it? I wish I could be confident that that'll happen, but I'm not confident that it'll happen. And this was also a topic of discussion on CNN, where Scott Jennings does yeoman's work every night, bringing the truth, exposing how stupid these kinds of rulings from district court judges are.
Well, I think there's a difference between saying whether you're complying with the law and then you have these individual district court judges setting effectively broad federal policy that is specifically reserved for the president of the United States. I think we do have a constitutional crisis, and it's being caused by these judges. They're not here to tell us. They're not here to tell us how to spend the money. They're not here to set broad federal policy. That is the president's job as elected by the people. These judges are supposed to be settling discrete, specific matters, not policy setting. I get it. You want individual federal judges who hate Donald Trump.
No, I don't.
To tie him up for 4 years.
No, I don't.
If you want a big
Not
policy questions decided, let the Supreme Court do it. But in the interim, the executive has to be allowed to govern.
Yeah, they would agree with that. Democrats would agree that the executive has to govern. When the executive is Barack Obama or the executive is Joe Biden. Well, maybe not Joe Biden. Maybe, I don't know, who were the candidates who were running the country when Joe Biden had the title? Was that President Ron Klain, President Antony Blinken, President Jake Sullivan, President Susan Rice? I don't know. What you know who I think it might have been? At least a part of the time, it was probably President Barack Obama serving his unprecedented 3rd term in office. So Democrats, all you need to do to get Democrats on board with what Scott Jennings said here is to have a Democratic inhabitant in the White House. Then everything he said, they would totally endorse.
Bad decisions limit future
All right, what a rocking first hour. Hope we'll see some of you tonight at the Dare Dutchman. Gonna have a fun night. Looking forward to meeting Larry Elder and chatting with Larry for about an hour. Shout out to my buddy Jack Windsor at the White House today. Jack does great work. He got invited to the White House. How big of a deal is that? Huge, huge deal. So hope to have Jack on the show, but I'm sure it's a bunch of moving parts to being at the White House on Radio Row. So appreciate you guys watching. Had a good audience online today. We always have a good audience online, even if it's a small audience online. It's always a good audience. You guys take care. Have a great day, and hope you enjoy a meaningful worship experience this weekend. That's my #1 hope for all of you, because it lends great joy and peace and assurance to life. With that, I'll bid you adieu and hope to see you tonight. Take care.